Well, hello there. Welcome back to the Triforce podcast.
Well, hello.
Why,
with your favourite
it's you
bubble
again.
boy, me.
Bubble
My
boy.
favorite bubble
Your
boy.
favourite and garage denizen.
Yes.
Sips. Hello.
Yeah.
And family man, jet setter, adventurer,
Yeah.
What,
brave.
We got a guest?
the only
Brave.
guy who goes outside amongst us, apparently.
He's so brave.
Period. How you feeling?
I
Are you
actually,
back? Are you back in
am I
town
back
this
where?
week?
What do you mean?
Oh, I got such a busy calendar.
Well, it is I do things. It's true. Yesterday was a bit of a trial. I had to leave the house 3 times. 3.
Oh my
This is what I'm
lord.
talking about.
I know.
You know?
And I had to go into the same part of Twickenham 3 times. Once to drop my eldest at the station to go to the zoo. Once to take my youngest to the hairdressers. It was a teacher strike day. She had the day off. She got a haircut. And then a third time to pick up my daughter from the station. And I was just like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, I never want to go outside again.
Wait, you
So
had a teacher strike day yesterday as well?
Yeah, baby. We got one on Friday too.
Oh shit, we had one yesterday, but not one on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? I think the National Union of Teachers gets together, NUT or whatever it's called, and strikes. And they said, fuck this. So yeah, they were on strike.
Yeah.
When
good.
are they just gonna bust the unions once and for all? You know what? I'm just joking.
Right. Sending all those substitute teachers with baseball bats. Just like scabs or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that name for a strike. Like someone who doesn't do the strike. A scab. Oh,
Scabs.
it's so good. It's one of these words that's like stuck around.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's old fashioned.
Yeah. It hasn't been needed to be replaced. Like I feel like there's this cycle of like offensive words, right? Where if a word describes anything vaguely extreme, like anything that like the word like slay at the moment, okay?
Right. Yeah.
But previously to that, it was like yes, queen, and previous to that, it's like something else. Do you know what I mean? But any word that means cool effectively goes out of date, right? Because
it's no longer cool.
yeah, and but those words are more prone to it, I think, than anything else. That's like that particular term has changed so many times, or at least has so many different like things since the 90s, and it's one of those things where like Ben tweeted out this week that the thumbs up emoji is like passive aggressive for like less than 25-year-olds, and Barry was like, yeah, do you know what I mean? If I'm gonna give you a thumbs up, it's usually like kind of sarcastic like thing to
I assume because that particular emoji tends to be used by older people.
It does.
So
I deal with a lot of tradesmen recently, and I get thumbs up a lot as like a acknowledgement. Like,
yeah.
yes, Friday's fine, and then they just give you a thumbs up to say,
I'm fine.
yes,
using the
I'll be
thumbs
there
ups
on Friday.
even now.
Yeah.
I think I don't mind using it now. I know it's got that connotation as well. I quite like using it ironically. It's like an old man, or whatever.
I might just use the
like...
clown emoji as confirmation. Anytime someone's like, I'm going to pop round tomorrow, just send a clown emoji.
What about
It'll be
the smiling emoji that looks very happy and is wearing a cowboy hat? I use that one sometimes too.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's a bad one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
They need like a words original emoji for us old folks to like, respond to something in an old man way.
Yeah.
Is there there must be like an old man beard or like a walking stick emoji, or like a Zimmer frame.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah.
Then again, like, are these things? I know there's new emojis that are born every couple of weeks, when whoever is in charge of them produces new ones, right? And it's almost like new words being added to the dictionary. Because I saw this thing this week on Reddit, and it was like a whole list of extra like slash. You can like do slash and then like a on the end of your messages on Twitter or text or whatever. And it was almost to describe the way you were saying something. So like /A would be like affectionate, like, do you know what I mean? So you might be like, hi, hope you're doing all right, /A, right? Rather than that being, hey, hope you're doing all right, / determined, or I don't know, / something else. / like, you / concerned. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so like, it's like different, because I think emojis are that, right? you can see a message, like even like a seemingly obvious, difficult to read message like "I hope you're doing okay," but that can have like a bunch of different meanings, right? If you want it to or consider it to. But I feel like emojis have replaced this. First of all, I don't want people to have to learn this alphabet of slash commands, which are almost like Italian hand signals, right? When because the Italians can't speak without. If you meet an Italian, get them to try and like hold their hands down by their side and speak to you, because they can't do it. It's like they can't actually vocalize anymore without their hands, like to help.
Yeah, they have
points.
to. Yeah, it's like it's part of the whole thing, right? Like I can't remember what the term is for it, but
there's a term for it, but it's a whole.
It helps them to get their point across and stuff better, you know, like with
it helps
the
to round out
the gestures,
like, meaning of what they're saying.
That's
and
right.
I think Italian is more like that than most other languages, but I think that like emojis are that, right? So often I now find myself like I send a message and I'm like, which emoji does this need at the end of this message to almost like signify what I mean here? And I end up mostly doing the face with like a one teardrop, like the you know what I mean, like I'm not sure face.
Oh, what about
the slightly embarrassed but not sure?
What about there's the face where he's smiling and he's got like one sweat drop.
That's what it is.
That's
the
one
sweat
that
drop.
you like. Yeah,
that's the one which I use all the time.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like that sort of that carries like a tone of humility with it. You know, I think that's why people tend to like it so much.
Yes.
Yeah, grinning face with sweat emoji.
Yes. Yeah.
In the one of the things whenever we go away to Dota events is we always have a WhatsApp group for that event. Well, there'll be a bunch. There's normally one for production, which is where you're like told, hey, can you guys be at this studio at this time, rehearsals at this time, shuttles at this time. That's like the production side. Mm-hmm. But then all the talent that will work on the event will get into a WhatsApp group so we can bitch about stuff and ask each other questions instead of having to bother production with it. And the big thing in there is not emotes, but the stickers you can do on WhatsApp, because you can make stickers. So people will find a funny still from the stream, make a sticker from it, and then that becomes a new emote. So there's sort of customized emotes that you make from your group of friends specifically to mean certain things. I think that's more interesting.
I think that's really interesting.
It's a lot of work, though. Like
it takes like 2 seconds.
Apparently it's not. Yeah, like Doug had showed me on his iPhone. It's like built in now, and I think you can do it on Android as well. But it's definitely built into iPhone to be very easy. You literally just hold on someone, and it like pops them out of the picture.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can just be like, "Give me this guy's face."
It photoshops them out of this picture, and it works really well.
Right.
So yeah, they've got a Paris TwitchCon WhatsApp group, and it's full of stickers of me looking like disappointed or. Oh wait,
are you
sad.
there right now?
No, I'm going there tomorrow.
Oh right.
I'm a bit late to the party. I'm gonna miss like the first day.
I've sent you guys some of the stickers that we use. These are just random faces of people at events and stuff like that.
Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying.
So it just
yes,
clips it out like that. This is one of my favoriets. It's Slacks lying on the ground, but it looks like he's kind of flying through the air.
Oh yeah, I see the stickers. Yeah.
So
there's a picture of Slacks who looks like he's wearing a wizard costume, and his hands. He's obviously he's in the press up position, but the way it looks like he's kind of really badly flying through the air, like on one of those comedy, like shit wizard, like on a wire.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, that is a fucking hilarious picture. You could use that all the time. You could be like, I'm just getting into the airport now, guys. So post that emoji.
That is literally how people use it. It's such a funny one.
Yeah. Oh no, that is fucking. I mean, this obviously is similar to you guys is having your own emotes on Twitch and stuff.
Of course,
right? And then that leads all into your Discords, and so everyone. I mean, this is how the biggest emotes got started on Twitch, right? It was almost like Twitch themselves published a few weird ones, like Kappa, of their staff members.
Yeah, that
Do you know what
now
I mean? Just the
became,
people
like,
to use.
absolutely enormous. Like,
And then they had ones from people that have subsequently become canceled as well, right? And you no longer see them
or died. Yeah,
or died. Well, I think the ones
Yeah.
where people died are still being used, but I think it was PogChamp.
PogChamp is not a nice guy. Apparently,
He's not a nice guy, and I don't think
Well, who knew?
that
Like,
the emote
but
is even used
This is
anymore.
the nature of no one did a background check on this guy when he made PogChamp.
No,
I mean,
they should have though, because they should have had the foresight to realize this is going
check
to be
every
a big
fucking
thing.
emoji and everyone for every single thing.
it's an emoji, for Christ's sake. We don't need to do background checks. He's not working with kids. It's just they just took his face and made
It's
it
just
an
a dumb
emoji.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think
Talking
we
of
should
dumb
do
faces,
a full audit of his life to this
I
date?
saw a thing this week where apparently I went to Walt Disney World.
Apparently
recently.
Did you say apparently? You don't remember it?
You're not
I
sure.
went to Walt Disney World recently, and there was the Hall of Presidents in like Epcot.
No.
Epcot is like one of the parks, and it's basically it's kind of for more grown-ups.
Yeah, it's the big dome looking thing. It's like a golf ball.
The big golf ball dome.
It looks like a
and then
space, a moon base. The
Yeah.
dome of a moon base.
it's don't go in it, but it looks cool.
Wait, you
You
don't
can
go
go
in
in
it?
it. There's like a NASA ride
it's
or
not
something
very good,
in there.
though.
Oh right, sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying don't go in because it's not very good, but
Right.
it looks good and it's a cool landmark. But the main thing about Epcot is they've got this whole like circle of international
Yes.
exhibits, right? So they've got like a little bit of France, a little bit of Japan, a little bit of like Morocco and Germany and Norway and China and all of them. And you walk around and they've got their own restaurants, their own
It's
shops,
because
their own
Epcot
events.
stands for something like experimental prototype community of tomorrow or something like that. So it's like celebrating the
Right.
world, but then it's got like future stuff as well.
Yeah, so there's this thing you can do, which we were doing a bit of called where you drink around the world and you go and have a drink in every country.
Right.
And so you drink like some German beer and then you drink some like shochu in the Korea and then you drink like something else. Do you know what I mean? It's the whole thing. And it was fun, but they have this thing in the US section, which is quite a big section,
Yeah.
called the Hall of Presidents, which is this kind of fairly shonky patriotic stage show where they have all these animatronic presidents and they sort of mostly just sort of stand there and look rubbery back and forth.
Yeah,
They
they're
look pretty
the
good, though.
old animatronics, right? Like they
Yeah, they're not actually
the new
that-
ones can do flips and shit. Like they're like like that, like the robots like at the
Oh god, yeah.
yeah,
You see some
they're
of
going to
these
use
new
them for
ones,
stunts
they
and
look
stuff,
real
like
good.
stunt shows, like the Indiana Jones stunt show.
Yes, I did see some really good animatronics actually.
Yeah.
And these are kind of like Madame Tussauds, but I guess there's a general problem with face recognition in humans anyway, because we are so focused on faces in our brains
Yeah,
that we really have trouble if they're not absolutely perfect
Yeah.
or convincing.
yeah.
And so when you're making something physical, it's very hard. Anyway, apparently the Donald Trump robot, this was a rumor, but it's been sort of it's been really picking up traction. That when they made the Donald Trump robot, they didn't think Donald Trump was going to win.
Right.
So they made they were busy making the Hillary robot, right?
Right.
They finished the Hillary robot. When Trump won, they had to like convert it into Trump, and so it's got like slightly Hillary features, like slightly bigger cheeks, and that it's ever so slightly Hillary-esque.
Good.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah.
Trump, Hall of Presidents. Oh, it doesn't look good. It does look like Hillary.
It kind of, when you look at it, yeah, you can. I mean, it is Trumpian. It's so weird, the whole thing, because it's such an American thing, right? The curtains draw back, and there's like these 25 animatronic men, right?
It's so weird.
All of them white,
Yeah,
apart
it is
from
weird, yeah.
Barack Obama. And they're all sort of stood there, and it sort of names them all. Martin Van Buren.
Yes. That guy, yeah.
John Quincy Adams.
John
All of
Quincy
them.
Adams.
Yeah, and they sort of it's this whole, I don't know, it's a very like high school American, what I would imagine every American child learns,
Yeah.
this kind of slightly odd history. I mean, I feel like I know the US presidents bizarrely just because of culture better than I know the UK prime ministers.
Oh, I
or
barely know any of
other.
the UK prime ministers.
I know. I mean, it's interesting how we know so much about American history from this, and how much it sort of teaches you through stuff like this. And I'm not saying it wasn't fun. But I just thought it was weird because I saw this news and I thought when I went, I was like, yeah, do you know what? It is a bit off.
You know what I think is strange, and I love America and Americans. I've got no problem with you. I grew up there, obviously.
Sorry, I didn't want to tilt this into an anti-American. I know we're quite anti-American in this podcast, but we love you guys, really.
We're British and Canadians, so that it's kind of natural. But I do think there are so many strange things about American culture that seem directly opposed to each other, but still exist. And there are two things. First of all, the reverence of former presidents seems strange because a lot of Americans also seem to have this hatred of big government and ain't nobody could tell me what to do. But then they have the Hall of Presidents. It's like that seems kind of strange.
Nobody can tell me what to do except if you're John Quincy Adams. Then you can tell me
then you could tell me what to do any day of the week.
He could tell me to eat my own shit. I'd eat it. I'd pick all the peanuts out of it and I would eat it right in front of his dumb face.
Yes, Mr. Adams, I'm eating the poop as requested.
His dumb rubbery face.
It's just so strange that they revere things like that. I also think it's strange how much Americans revere America when it seems to be so at odds with itself all the time.
Yeah.
Real polarizing extremes. So I don't think Americans actually love the whole of America or their fellow Americans. They just like the idea that they get a little corner of it that nobody can fuck with. That's really what they're celebrating, is their neck of the woods, not the whole thing.
That is part of the original American dream, though, right?
Yeah, I just want to be left alone on a ranch
my
somewhere.
own little corner, and I can make it.
But then, so here's the other weird thing, is given that, why is there such a popularity of housing, homeowners associations in America? Because I'm always reading these posts and articles about homeowners associations.
You have one leaf on your lawn and...
Yeah, it's like, seems like the least American thing to me. It's so strange. Like the idea that there's some fucking board of twats gets to tell you what color your fucking house can
Exactly,
be.
especially when it's the land of, liberty and independence and freedom and, outdoorsmanship and kind of like the whole point is standing on your own and, making it yourself. And,
right.
And being, that's the whole reason everyone...
That's the dream they sell you. That you can basically, if you've got the moxie and the willpower, you'll make it. It's obviously bollocks, but it's a nice idea. And then you also have all these gated communities and homeowners associations. And when I was at Stockholm, there were obviously quite a few Yanks there working with us. And I got chatting to them about it. And they said, well, it's really good for your property prices because that way there isn't like one shitty house bringing everyone else's property values down. Now, I've never thought when I look at property, especially in London, that you'll have a street of houses, and if one of them looks a bit shit, that means it brings down the whole street.
No.
That never seems to be a concern. Like, you're living on I genuinely, on my road is a prime example. There are a couple of houses here that are really in a parlous state. Terrible looking front gardens, really bad. And I'm not going to go around there and be like, you're bringing down my property prices, because I genuinely don't think people
No,
give
I
a
think
shit.
what you need to do is go to those people and say, hey, do you need help? I'll clean up your garden for free if you want. And they'll probably say yes.
No.
Because they're
I think
like
most,
old folks, probably.
I don't know if in the States you have these housing associations because there's no bylaws, but in Canada you got bylaws that kind of protect you from a lot of that stuff. And they're so specific, like to the point where it's like you can't have a tree past a certain distance from the sidewalk in your front yard. Like you can't have a pool in your front yard, for example.
Right.
Like all these things. And if you break the rules, that a bylaw officer can come by and issue you with a fine or
we've
a letter
definitely
to say
got
you can't do that, or
similar things like that. Like, for example, if you have an extension to your house, it can't go above the current height of the eaves of your house.
Well,
So
that's
the top point
you
of your
probably
roof.
have planning for that as well. Like,
Right, but it's similar in that there are restrictions on what you can do.
yes,
But that is at a council level.
yeah.
So my point is that these homeowners associations are your other fucking neighbors.
Yes.
So then it becomes this kind of cliquey, bitchy thing.
Oh my God, yes.
Where
This
it's
is the
all-
absolute worst.
Exactly.
This is the thing, the local drama where your fence is too high.
What
or like-
authority do they have to enforce any of this stuff?
They
though?
literally
or
can
they
fine
just,
you.
they just
They
bully
can
you.
fine you. No, they can fine you.
All right.
There is a really
It's worse than that. Like, there's a John Oliver episode about it, which is quite good.
Watch it. That's last week tonight.
It's on
All
YouTube.
about homeowners associations.
Yeah, I watched that a few weeks ago, and it talks about how they kind of have the power to bill you, and if you don't pay, they can ask a lawyer to pay
To
chase up
murder
chase up that bill, and then you have to pay the fee for that, and it keeps going up basically until it gets to a point where they can actually like foreclose on your own house.
All right.
Yeah, so it's insane. They have these crazy powers. It's I guess it's completely different to our local councils who are just the local busybodies, but it is the same kind of busybodies who get involved in this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like these little Hitlers who love and are obsessed with local power and get
What? How do you get to that point?
What they're
though?
like.
How they have nothing
I've met
else to
so
do.
many of them, but I still am baffled as to how life takes you there. You know, like
You got nothing else to do. You're literally bored.
I'm sure a lot of them are generous, nice people giving their free time to do something for free, but a lot of them just are. I think they think the worst of people. Like just then, Pyrian, you said like how there's a couple of houses in your street that are unkempt, right? And your go-to assumption is that they're lazy or chavs or scum or whatever, right?
No, that's
and
not
so
what I said.
No, but I think that is that most people's go-to assumption that they are just doing it because they're lazy. But I think they could just be renting, right? And when you're renting a house, you don't feel like I don't want to do up my house for this landlord, and he's not going to want to pay anything, right? So I think when you have a very high percentage of rented properties, yeah, they're going to get run down, and yeah, the landlord's not going to want to pay anything, and yeah, the people in the house are not going to want to pay to do it up, and so it becomes this. It does. The front gardens do get messy, and the doors don't get painted, you know, and people don't love them. When people own their own places, they love them and they take so much more care of them. And I think that is a more of an indication.
Well, not the guy on my road. He's quite old, and I think he's just doesn't give a shit anymore. I think that's the point that he's gotten to. So I think it's a combination. There was an old couple that lived on our road. They died a few years ago, sadly. Their
in
house
my
was in a
experience, those kind of people are embarrassed about it, though.
Yeah,
they don't have the
embarrassed.
energy or the knowledge to do it themselves, either, or the money as well. Like some of the old folks I know, like just kind of can't afford this stuff,
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think the point is with the homeowners, I'm sure we'll get some emails defending them, and fair enough if it works for you in your area. But I think it's treading a fine line. All it takes is one maniac to come in, one person, one real busybody who's absolutely fucking living for this drama. It's like making something out of nothing because you have nothing else to do. We were talking about why old people get all fucking curtain twitchy and about nothing. Like my parents are always doing this kind of thing. They're finding some weird thing and it's like a big deal to them. They've got nothing else going on. There is nothing going on. They're retired. Yeah. Their life is completely
got a lot of free time.
void. Yeah. Their life is just completely steady, nothing happening. So something happens, like he's painted his door blue. Oh my god! Oh! It's like finally something's happened. They got all fucking fired up about it. It's just boredom. They're just bored out of their minds. Give them something to do.
There was a story about this. Someone had to knock something down recently. I'll tell you what it was I saw this week. It was the fucking... This is actually not... This is a really shit story. But do you remember Captain Tom?
Yes,
Captain Tom,
I saw this.
Who walked around his garden.
God.
So I don't know if you're not in the UK. There was a 100-year-old man who walked around his garden during COVID, and he became like this viral national figure for a little while.
Briefly.
And a lot of people donated money to the NHS.
The Uncle Tom Foundation.
In his
right?
name.
Yeah.
So they set up this family set up this foundation. He very sadly died. But the family were like suddenly flush with cash. And the first thing they did was build a spa. I guess they use the word spa, but I assume it's like a jacuzzi or a hot tub in their garden, right? With the charity money. And obviously, of course, this is the scummiest, lowest thing I've ever heard, right, in my life. And they've recently been told to knock it down, which is what they do. Again, it feels like a terrible waste when someone like builds something or a shed or something without planning permission, or a garage without planning permission, and then or a conservatory, and then they're being told to knock it down. That just feels like salt in the wound, right? I feel like there should be some. They should just go to prison, right? And we should leave the spa there. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'd rather we did it that way. But then again, like there's also a guy who might be going to 5 years in prison for graffitiing the Colosseum this week.
Oh,
right?
God,
Really?
this idiot. Yeah.
So
British.
So there was a British guy who went to the Colosseum. His excuse is, I didn't know how old it was. That's genuinely his excuse.
That is
He
the
was
He
worst
with
didn't know
his
how
girlfriend.
old
I've
it
ever
was, and so he's gone to a foreign country and decided to do graffiti while he's there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like
because
nice
apparently
graffiti,
they
or
don't
is it
mind
like
it.
really, really
No,
bad?
just carving his name and his girlfriend's name into the Colosseum.
right.
Now, okay, here's my take on it. Now, you might have your own salty take, and the internet, every thread I've read, every story I have read is like, throw the book at him, he's embarrassing us, blah, blah, blah. Everyone is like, 5 years in prison. And I'm like, okay, first of all, the Colosseum is pretty fucking big, right? It's not like he's scribbled his name on the fucking Mona Lisa, right? He can and second of all, the Colosseum's covered in graffiti. If you've ever been there, thousands of people have scrawled their names in that fucking thing over thousands of years. And if you go to the pyramids, it's got Roman and Greek graffiti all over it. In fact, in a lot of the tombs is a lot of graffiti because it's from antiquity. People go to places and write their names in things. You go to any school in the UK, all the desks are covered in people's they've scratched their names in. You climb any cathedral, any church, and I'm not saying it's good, but it's full of graffiti. It just is, right? And I'm not saying we want people to go out and graffiti stuff, but I'm also thinking maybe 5 years in prison is a little bit of a stretch.
Is
for
that
a
how long
punishment
they're going to lock him up
for this guy scrawling his name.
Are they going to give him 5 years?
That's what it looks like. at the
No
moment.
way.
Well, exactly.
They're not
That's
actually
what's-
going to give him 5 years for that.
Well,
though, are
who
they?
knows? Well, even if it's just a year in prison, that feels like a lot for fucking writing your name on something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, we've got like fucking, chemical companies pumping out billions of tons of oil and killing like thousands of people and animals. Like I feel like there's worse things going on than like a tourist being an idiot. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, there's people doing way worse than that, and I don't know. Maybe you guys are on the side of he should be executed. I don't know. Maybe he should be made to fight a lion in the gladiatorial combat.
I think that would be pretty pog. If you want to write your name on the Colosseum, you have to fight a deer. It's been a popular theme on the podcast lately. He has to fight an animal, and
maybe he should have a tattoo inscribed on himself
of the
saying,
Colosseum.
I'm an idiot, like somewhere like on his arse or on his arm. Like I just think we should.
I think
like for like punish these things.
You're saying bring back an eye for an eye, just like the old days.
Yeah, I don't know if he did like the amount of damage to society that.
I mean, if he does get
years,
5, it could be 5 years in prison for that. That is insane.
That's
insane. I mean, that is insane.
Fully
Come
insane.
On.
Does he have kids or anything?
No,
is it just him and his
a young
girlfriend?
fitness
He's just an
instructor
idiot.
Right.
from Bristol.
Right.
From Bristol,
I know.
by the
Well,
way.
I know
Is
this
he a
is why
personal
it's
trainer?
relevant to us as well.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he went off the rails after all your inappropriate jokes that you made to him.
He just keeps writing Lewis Brindley on every wall.
He can't get
walks
over
past.
it. He's like, I've been lashing out ever since.
Poor guy.
I don't think
maybe.
I don't think that warrants jail time. Honestly, I think people calling for somebody to go to jail for that just are insane as well. I don't think they realize what kind of people are in jail. Well, I think you should reserve jail for people who actually should be
Captain
there.
Tom's family need to be there.
Yeah, Captain Tom's family can go to jail. They could do like maybe they could make a show. Captain Tom's family go to jail for a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they could
I think they
change
should
their idea
at
of
least do
how jail
community
is.
service that makes up for the value of the spa that they paid for out of charity money, right?
Yeah.
They need to do however much. I don't know how much a spa costs. 20 grand. They need to do at least 20 grand of community service. How much is a banana, Michael? $20? I don't know how much is a spa. I've not had to ever consider building one in my garden, and I'm still not sure what it is.
No.
Is it a jacuzzi?
A spa.
Did they build like a whole fitness center?
Spa is like
Did they build a
the whole
fountain?
thing,
What is a
isn't it? It's
spa?
got like a pool. It's got beauty treatments. Like
It's got like a
You
sauna,
would-
maybe.
yeah, it usually
Like a
has
hot-
like a
or like a
sauna,
plunge
a
pool.
shower room, a locker room. It's like a better YMCA, you know?
Yeah, I could go to a spa. I went to a spa before.
You've been to one.
I've
had
never done a spa. Never
I had some
been to a
treatments.
spa.
No.
It was about 10 years ago. It was very weird having like.
It's the vibe just says to me crystals, and I
Yeah.
don't like anything to do with crystals.
It's not.
It just immediately-
It's as crystals as you want it to be. My wife and her boyfriend go like all the time. I pay for them to go, and they always say how much fun they have and how relaxing it is and stuff. So
Yeah, they're all
Sounds
sweaty
good.
when they finish
Yeah.
as well.
I gotta look after the kids while they're gone.
Yeah.
I see. It's like one of these places that I'm never able to fully. You're supposed to. You're told to relax, and I'm never able to fully relax. Do you know what I mean? It's one of these places where you have to they're massaging you, and it's like, oh, you're very tense. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just because there's a man like fucking rubbing me, and I've not got any clothes on. Why the fuck? How else am I supposed to feel? I'm never able to like turn off. In those places,
No.
I'm always like slightly on edge.
Turned on.
I'm always turned on.
Yeah, you
That's
can't
right.
turn off because you're so on at the time.
I'm not turned on though, because most of the people there are old as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm surrounded by models.
It's
all,
weird.
you know,
Anytime I
strutting their
think
stuff.
about stuff like that, like going to a spa, having a massage or whatever, I always think that somebody is going to have sex with me. You know, like I don't know why
Right.
that's my go-to with those things. My perception
Right.
of it is all wrong. You know, I know people.
Who's gonna have sex? With
I don't
you?
know, but I always feel
Oh, I
like
see.
if I did go, I've never been, but if I did go, it's kind of like when I was telling you guys about my prostate, and you just assumed that some guy was fucking me in the ass. You know, like
I did not
Right?
assume
Yeah.
that.
No.
I did not assume that.
Lewis did.
I don't remember. I think it's
No,
just
no,
Lewis
no.
Lewis
Brindley.
absolutely did. Like every time I
well,
mentioned
you may
it,
have
he was
implied
like,
it.
"Oh, did you?"
You may have implied it.
So I'm blaming you. Do you think this is because of the happy ending thing?
Yeah, probably,
Or because
yeah.
of like there's this Thai massage place on the road, one of the roads near the office, and
Oh, yeah.
I walked past it, and a couple of times the like Asian women in the window have like waved seductively at me.
Right.
as I walked
Are you
past.
sure that it was seductive waving? Because
I looked behind me and there was no one else there. I think maybe they thought I was coming in, or I was like a booking or something.
did you ever consider that maybe they're just bored and they don't have any work to do and they want a
Maybe
new
they were
customer?
just fucking with me.
Yeah.
They might have just been fucking with me. That is a thing that can happen. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Have
Yes.
you guys got anything else? To,
It's weird
to cover
though.
This week?
It's weird where we get these ideas about things, though, right? I don't know if maybe it's just from watching like too much PORN or what. I don't know what the deal
Right.
is. But
Well, you think it's because you're watching like one of these scenarios where massage?
yeah, or
turns
it
into-
could just come from like popular culture as well, right? Like I'm sure there was a Seinfeld episode where George didn't want to get a massage from a guy because he thought he would get a boner or something.
Well, I think for a long time in certain countries, massage has been a byword for prostitution, right? Like the massage parlors are brothels, right? They're just not called that.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, like I wouldn't want to book a massage because I might accidentally be booking a sex.
A sex instead.
I feel bad. You know,
Excuse
like-
me. I've made a big mistake here. I booked a massage, but I feel like I'm about to have a sex session.
Can you stop giving me a hand job and instead
Stop
rub down
rubbing.
my injured leg? Yeah. Like,
I mean, I feel
It's a sports
bad
injury.
for all massage parlor workers and owners because I mean I know someone who owns a massage parlor and they're like the word parlor doesn't help.
No.
Like they're like a massage therapist. Like they do proper deep muscle like massage and
Okay.
he's very very good. And he's done like he lives in Philadelphia, so like the Philadelphia Eagles players will sometimes come to his place for massage because he's really really good.
Right.
And I respect that. It's work that, especially if you do a lot of athletics and stuff, your muscles really get knotted up. You need something to sort of loosen them, and he helps with like posture and how you can help not having a bad back. All this stuff, very, very, very good. But let's say you're an attractive younger woman and you open a genuine massage place because it's a thing that you're interested in, and all of a sudden, half the dudes coming in there are like whipping their boners out and expecting this to be a thing. It must be so difficult to just do fucking massage without people going, oh yeah, whoa, happy ending, is it?
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, it's just fucking sucks.
They get the idea from somewhere, though. That's what I'm,
No smoke without fire. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Just say
it is-
no smoke without
You're
fire.
right, though. It is so prevalent as a lazy joke on telly.
Yeah, it is.
In the same way that, like, prison rape is as well.
Yes.
And it's
well, it used to
kinda
be
gross.
in the 90s. For some reason, that was very funny. I don't know why, but it was. I mean, it was
Yes.
always implied or mentioned or whatever. You don't hear it much anymore. But I mean, Norm Macdonald had that whole fucking. There's a whole clip montage of him doing Weekend Update where like all of the jokes are about prison rape and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw one the other day, actually. Although this does spoil the punchline. It was. I've got a friend who has so much free time. He works out every day. He can read 2 or 3 books a week, and he has sex like 3 or 4 times a week. But all he does is complain about being in prison. That's the joke. So yeah, it's still funny apparently.
Yeah, still, yeah.
Even though you knew what was coming.
No, it's good.
Yeah,
You told it well.
You did, yeah, good. I didn't see it coming at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
I've got another one.
Okay. Is this jokes now? Is it
No, I'm not going to do more jokes.
Okay.
I'm not going to do more. I've got a whole book of prison rape jokes. It's coming out next month. Just Google my name. Well, don't do that. Jeez, that would be weird.
Don't Google his name. And don't email us
don't.
about this either, okay? That's it. We don't want to hear it.
Before we continue, using the internet without ExpressVPN is like not paying attention to the safety demonstration on a flight. Most of the time, you'll be fine. What if one day that weird yellow mask drops down from overhead and you have no idea what to do?
What if you put it on your Johnson? I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Start if you want.
No, exactly. Anyway, a friend of mine, in not very entertaining news, did actually get hacked this week and it spent a huge amount of time and money getting their accounts back.
Jesus.
They lost a lot of stuff, and it's real bad. So do protect yourself when you're out and about in cafes, hotels, airports. You can use a VPN. It doesn't take much technology to hack someone. You can protect yourself in a very easy way by installing ExpressVPN. I use ExpressVPN on my computer at home, on my phone. You don't even notice it's there, and it gives me a lot of peace of mind. So yes, secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Triforce, expressvpn.com/Triforce. You can get an extra 3 months free.
Do it!
Wow.
expressvpn.com/Triforce. Thanks everybody. Good luck. Be safe. So, oh God, did I tell you? Did I tell you I went on a date? I went on my,
Oh, no, you didn't.
first date.
Hold on, let me
Hang
get
on a
comfortable.
second. Yeah,
Let me
me
get
too. Let me
comfortable.
adjust myself quickly.
Okay, we've been waiting weeks.
So
for
hang
this.
on,
All right.
you managed to find somebody who didn't offend you via emoji or the way that they type words on their phone or whatever. This person exists?
Well, I think it's the other way round,
All right.
actually. I managed to find someone who I didn't offend and awkwardly, accidentally put my foot in it before. Do you know what I mean? And I think the reason was because it was quite quick. Like,
Oh dear.
we started chatting, and they were like, I hate chatting on these apps. Let's just get a drink. And I was like, okay, fine. So I suggested the place, right? And she texted me saying I'm here, and I was like just outside. So I came in. And I went into this bar, and there was no one. There was like a couple in there, and like a guy at the bar, and there was like a guy behind the bar. So I was like, "Oh, where is she?" So I went in and I ordered a drink.
She works at the bar.
And I looked around. No, and it was the girl from the couple looked over at me and like waved, and I was like, "Oh my God,
Oh no.
it's her!" And then she was talking to this other guy, and she was talking to him, and I picked this venue, right? So it's not like she'd
Bumped into it.
knew
Yeah.
this, right? Anyway, like like a minute passes. Okay, I'm just stood there, like awkwardly, like at the bar. I didn't know whether to like go over or not, but she sort of almost like signified like I'll be over. Do you know what I mean? We like the hand signals in a sec. She's like, wait,
Right.
So, and she's like, oh, I've just moved back to Bristol. I bumped into this guy I knew, and he's like 6'4". He's like gorgeous, like a big beard. It's like the opposite of I'm like an inch shorter than her. It's like, oh no, this is not working.
Like that's almost like she was being shown. This is what you could have won. Like
Yes,
on the Wheel of Fortune.
Immediately.
Oh, don't be
start.
so down on yourself. He might be a homosexual.
I know. Don't worry. No, I wasn't threatened. It's
they
fine.
might have dated in the past and it didn't work out because his dick was too big.
You
It could be anything.
guys might form such a fun friendship and bond over sharing
I
the same
styled it
moment
out. It's fine.
in the future.
I
All right,
I
good
styled
lad,
it
good
out.
lad. You just got to fucking dive in that situation. You can't be.
It worked.
Can't be cowed.
I made it work for me. It's fine. And so we chatting away and stuff, and it was fine. I think like she kept saying, "Your life is so different to mine."
Right. What did you tell her about your life?
Well,
Did you tell her
she
about all the
Googled
Warhammer
me, though,
painting
a
and
bit.
stuff?
You hate everything in a contrary.
She'd sort of Googled me, but not like I was like, how much? I was like, what do you mean? Well, go on. I'm just interested. And she was like, well, I just sort of poked around and saw some pictures of you and like your
In a bee
your
costume
stuff.
and
Yeah. And so, as you do. And she was just she was interested, but also, I guess, like slightly scared.
Mortified.
Because it's so unfamiliar.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess I don't realize that my bubble boy weird internet life is actually weird.
I mean, if she Googled you, she would have seen you proclaiming that clams are people and crabs are people. You in the bee costume.
A lot of very weird pictures.
Very odd framing of I mean, everyone's clipped and taken pictures of the funniest stuff that you've done. Those would be the first results.
Yeah.
So it is going to be tough. You need to pay that company that scrubs your name from the internet just while you're on a date or leading up to a date, and then returns it all as soon as the date is over. That's what you need to do. Easy.
I tried to I'm trying to be fairly anonymous, but it's kind of even like I can't be too anonymous. And even after, if I don't have this problem, like they'll Google me after the first date anyway, right? And then I'll have the same problem on the second date of like them being like, what the fuck? So I don't know, I don't know whether to just front. Anyway, it was an interesting experience. I probably had too much to drink and I probably talked too much, but I think
I'm sure it's fine.
Mostly what happens on an awkward first.
And is there a second date forthcoming, would you say, or no contact
she
since?
She texted a weird thing back, which I'm not sure how I feel about what it means.
Right. Was it like never talk to me again?
Was it just the clown emoji? Was it that? Going back to emojis.
Was it where is episode 45 of Shadow of Israfel?
It said, happy to hang out in whatever capacity.
Oh.
Hard to gauge. Haha. Right. So what does that that
means she wants a second date and she's up for anything.
Yeah, she's willing to give it a go. That's what it sounds like to me.
I would say that is as positive as it gets.
Oh.
Take her somewhere crazy.
That would be what I would
assume.
Time. Yeah. Take her somewhere absolutely wild. Take her to a massage parlor and get. This is why we need
emojis. And maybe if she put / C as concerned, I would have been I would have known more. Do you know what I mean? We need to simplify our. We need to clarify.
Here's listen to Papa Pyrian for a second here, okay?
Right.
Okay, then after that, listen to me because I got a great idea
listen,
too.
Listen to Sipsy Boy after.
Okay.
All right. First of all, you're overcomplicating it, brother. She's expressed an interest in seeing you again. Things clearly went okay. She's feeling it out and figuring things out. Probably a lot to take in on the first date. You got to get to know each other. She's saying, I'm up for whatever. Let's just think of something. She's put the ball in your court. Think of something. It doesn't have to be something crazy. Maybe something different, something slightly different from what you did before, just meeting in an empty bar. Take her out for a nice meal somewhere cool. Job done. Just see how it goes. She's up for it. She hasn't said never call me again or thanks, but I don't think it's going to work out. I presume from the way you phrased it that she made the first move about meeting up again. That's huge.
That's huge.
And she cut right to the chase. She wasn't like, I don't want to talk on this fucking app, because she's right. You're not really going to get to know someone.
No, you're not.
So don't read too much into what she's saying. She's clearly not that fussed about the texting. Go on another date and see how it goes.
Okay, I will. Okay. But I'm away for 2 weeks now.
Well, that's fine. You have more time to think about what you're going to do, because I got a great idea. You can plan it all out while you're away, and when you get back, you can execute it to perfection, okay? She said, I'm up for anything. I think you should call her bluff. So my idea is you take her for a day out to London, right? And you, while you're in London, you say, hey, gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen Buckingham Palace. Let's go have a look. And she'll be like, oh, God, that sounds really boring. Maybe this guy is actually really boring. He wants to go to Buckingham Palace, right? So you get there. Make sure you order some nice hot drinks to enjoy while you're standing outside. And then when you're just when it's getting really boring, maybe tell her some history about the monarchy or whatever. And then, lull her right into that sort of.
Tell her about the Hall of Presidents.
Yeah, tell her some of that shit. And then, when you can see that she's really, really sort of complacently
looking around,
looking pretty bored and wondering what's next sort of thing. Say, oh, can you hold this for a second? And then you can pass her your hot drink. And then at that point, you take your shirt off, and then you use a
Revealing
Scottish
fuck the
accent,
monarchy
and you
written on
hop
my
the
chest.
fence, and you start screaming freedom, and and just really show
Eat the rich.
Really show
Okay.
her what you're made of. I think she'll appreciate that. If she's truly up for anything, I think she'll. I think that'll be a real eye opener for her.
Yeah, getting arrested. She's up for it.
Getting arrested
great
without a
suggestion,
shirt
my
on
dude.
as well. I think that's going to
Okay,
be sweet.
I'll consider both of these
Yeah,
things.
You got a
take
lot of time to
both of
think
them.
about it anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, God, like the spontaneous.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just. I've
law
booked us
breaking.
flights to go
To London.
yeah.
Man, I can't wait to
mm.
go to London. It's going to be amazing.
Your tips are top quality. Sips.
Thanks so much.
I think these are the memorable dates that people tell to their future husband and wives. They're like, oh, well, this awful date with this guy.
I'll have been married for 20 years this summer, and let me tell you, some of these tips are priceless.
I guess I'm like, if I do that, I'm like Cupid, right? I'm like setting people up with a really terrible date so they know when they find someone, that isn't awful, they're like so happy because they're like, there's not this guy,
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of causing love in the world through generating bad date experiences.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cute idea.
I think it's cute. Yeah,
So-
I think you could.
So all of you guys who've been on a terrible date out there, just think that is actually an investment in the future of, it makes all other dates look better and gives you a good story.
It gives you a great story
Everyone
to tell.
loves a story about a bad
You might
date.
want
In
to.
fact,
You could.
speaking of,
You might want to tell your cellmate that one multiple times. What are you in for? I did some graffiti on the Colosseum. What about you? I took my shirt off at Buckingham Palace and in a Scottish accent started
To try to
yelling
impress a
freedom
woman.
as I jumped the wall.
if you it's just thinking ahead, because it would make a cracking mailbag episode. If you've been on a bad date, let us know. I would love to know,
God,
especially
that would
from
be-
women, because they are always much funnier. The bad dates.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
I was a woman getting on dates, I'd just be rolling my eyes 24/7.
I feel like men probably have some funny date stories, but they're few and far
absolutely.
between, right? Because
Yeah.
most of them are probably just kind of like, oh, she wasn't interested. No, she
Yeah.
wasn't interested. But but men are so insane that we're
idiots.
Women
We're
tend to
complete
have
idiots.
more interesting stories to listen to around dating.
Agreed. Go ahead and let us know via the Triforce mailbag. Some people keep asking where. Pyrianflax@gmail.com or Pyrian.flax@gmail.com if you want. That's the address. It's just my name
both
at
work.
gmail.com.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gmail addresses doesn't matter.
the
You can
dot
put as many
doesn't
dots
matter.
in there. It could be p.y.r.i.o.
In fact, if you send one to that address, I'll definitely read it.
Right.
Because that shows commitment.
Right. But it might not work.
Okay.
I've made that. I don't know how many dots you're allowed. But
You
Then
put
don't
a
try.
couple too many dots in there.
I take back my.
It's
My
overall, I
little-
think it represents a much better value with dots, but I don't know if the email will get through either.
No. So, but give it a go.
Yeah.
Why not? Just send. I like this. I like these sort of stories. The bad.
The good, the bad, and the
Sti-
ugly stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too. I love
God.
that. I love stories.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
We've had we've done all the prison stories. Like what is the worst? Also,
There's
like, what-
always more
what's-
prison stories, though. That's one thing I've learned about prison stories is that you've never heard all of them. There's always another one. There's
There is
always
always
another
I
one
might
just
have-
waiting around the corner.
prison
You wouldn't
story.
believe what I told you guys a week or so ago about spooning someone out, didn't I?
Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
I'd heard
God,
it all,
yes,
and I
yes.
heard that, and I was like, well, I guess I just hadn't heard it all.
So you
I
know
wonder,
what?
like, I feel like you should go to prison for that. Like, I feel like I've done things
They're
in my
already
life
in
that are
prison.
worse than.
Yeah, I feel like you do
scrolling on the
you
Colosseum,
do a bit of
maybe.
graffiti for you and your girlfriend on the Colosseum. Fast forward in time 3 weeks, and you're being spooned out by 10 dudes in a cell. Come on, the two don't add up.
They really don't.
No,
So I was watching.
if you live
there's
a life
TV
of crime
show.
or whatever, and some dudes are spooning you out because you carry on your life of crime inside,
Well, yeah, the spooning out is
Yeah,
if you
I get
have
it.
drugs trapped up your bum, right?
yes,
That's why
they
they
got to
use
get
the
it out.
spooning. Not-
They got to get them
It's
out
not
of your
for
bum.
sort of some weird
They don't care
reasons.
about you
they've
so
got
much.
they've got a focus, and that
Yeah,
focus is
it's got
drugs.
a
Yeah, it's
good
not
reason.
a sex thing. They don't want to spoon you out. But they're doing it for your
Needs
own
must,
good. Because
yeah.
if those drugs are stuck up there, you might die.
Yeah.
they're just
saving
helping.
your life. Those guys
They're
are
saving their life
life-saving.
and their bank balance. Well, they got
They should be given suspended. They should have their sentences reduced for spooning you out. You know.
So I was watching a show
I
called
don't know if I agree with that.
CSI or Forensics, the Real CSI or something like that. It's a BBC show.
It's good. Yeah, it's really neat. It's interesting.
It is interesting. However, and this is not a complaint. I'm not saying we should stop using it, but from a purely dramatic viewing perspective, watching people stare at a DNA database looking for matches or poring over some fucking cell phone data, it gets the job done. Cracking stuff. I'm glad the police have these tools to catch people like this. But fuck me, is it boring? There was a 5-minute clip of a woman matching DNA samples with DNA from the offenders, and she was like, right, that's an 11 and a 3.
Yeah, I hate
And that's
watching
an
them
11
use their
and a
computers
3,
as
so-
well, because they never
Yeah.
type fast. You know, they're
They're
always
so
looking
slow.
for like the, interface elements, and you're just like, come on, man. Like,
Where's your APM?
Where's your
for Christ's
APM
sake?
at? Like, you're not that old either. Like, Jesus. Like,
But it's like the myth that we're sold that the police. It's always some hunch.
yeah,
I got a hunch this guy's connected. When they go do the interview and the
Yeah.
guy's always talking.
yeah,
Here's what actually happens. They look at CCTV footage. They take extensive forensic evidence from the crime scene. That almost always turns something up. They look at cell phone records. They look at all of that shit. And they find some guys. Inevitably, they search their house and find a bunch of fucking stuff everywhere. And then the interviews are just them saying no comment, no comment, no comment. And then we
Yeah.
have, at the end, the resolution is just text on a screen saying they went to prison. Like, that's it.
You
So-
think the
well, I think
Coliseum
a lot of
graffiti
it-
guy did the no comment bit as well when he was in there?
I don't know.
Well, I think he got caught because he went a bit viral. Like, people were filming him doing it,
Yeah.
right? And so and then it went a bit viral, and then
it was a 5-day
he got
manhunt.
reported.
In 5-day international
I know
manhunt.
what an unbelievable load of crap. I get like I think you're right, period. Like, most of the time though, it's people who are suspects because someone else has said. They're like, this guy, I've seen him around here before. He's done these crimes before. He's done this before.
Yeah.
Therefore it's probably him. You should
Yeah.
look at him and, oh, he's the guy on CCTV. Oh, there we go. Crime solved.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like almost like the CCTV and all that stuff is kind of post. It's like it's more confirming than finding. Right?
So there was one I watched, and the way they caught the guys essentially was, first of all, so here's the thing, it was a honey trap murder. So these two girls took this lad back to his place,
Yeah.
and then
Oh my God.
they left the door open, the sort of front door of the communal flat area jarred open, so their two big male friends could come in,
Yeah.
beat this guy up. They ended up stabbing him in the leg, and he bled out and died. But the girls weren't wearing masks, so they were immediately recognized.
Right.
The two lads that came in, one of them was wearing quite an unusual, very expensive jacket, and they found out that only a handful of them had been sold in this country. So they were able to track it down. They look on CCTV. They found that.
What, did
because,
they
of
have
course-
a beef with this guy, or was it just random?
No, they were trying to rob him.
Oh.
So he was trying to go straight. Like, he'd been a bad one before as well.
Right.
But was trying to turn his life around. They came to steal his stuff. Because this is the thing. People post on Instagram and shit pictures of them wearing fancy jewelry and high-end watches. So,
Yeah.
of course, people that know these guys go, oh, look, a target. And they get together and they fucking try to steal the guy's shit. Like, it would
Especially
be
if
like...
there's some beef. Especially if they put a fence up and the homeowners associations said you have to demolish your lovely nice
You're not
fence.
allowed
Yeah.
to have
Do you
a
know what I mean?
pool
Before
in
you
your
know
front
it-
yard.
This
Homeowners
kind of shit,
association
this
is
kind
there.
of basic drama is always used for an agenda often.
Yeah.
Like you hear about someone who shot someone over a video games console or shot someone, but there's equally as many people shooting each other over before that people were shooting each other over TV and other crap, right? Like it's not, it's like recently Macron, French president,
Yeah.
said that rioters were intoxicated by video games and social media are causing all this unrest.
Yeah,
sweeping the
it must
country.
be, yeah.
Maybe the police shouldn't be just shooting dead a black teenager. Maybe that's the problem.
No.
but no,
That
it
doesn't
can't
make
be
any
that. It has to
sense.
be people playing Stardew Valley. And
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And
Look, it's always something.
My
I mean,
turnip harvest wasn't quite what I expected.
These turnips are causing mischief amongst the common folk. We should get rid of turnips. Yeah, people are always going to get pissed off about something.
Everyone
I've
likes
never
a
thought it was
scapegoat,
video
right? And I
games.
feel like you could appeal to a generation by implying that that something that the younger generation's into is causing massive problems. In the case of video game violence, it's been a long-running thing, right? But who knows what it is now? TikTok, fucking God, I don't know. Like, there's some weird shit on TikTok, and I'm not going to try and say it's good or bad.
Sarah,
but I don't know.
Sarah posts most of the weird shit on TikTok, I'd say.
That she does.
She's the progenitor
she's the
of
instigator
a lot
of the weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
used progenitor there correctly. I'll check that.
Sure. Yeah.
Progenitor.
Person or thing from which a person, animal, or plant is descended or originates, an ancestor or parent. So yeah, she's the progenitor.
Like Patient Zero.
She's the progenitor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of TikTok memes.
Of gross. Viral,
you guys had
viral.
one, the Lord of the Rings one, right? That went viral.
We occasionally have like things pop off on TikTok, which is nice. The thing that's popped off this week is Windrose's Diggy Diggy Hole.
Oh yeah.
Which is so annoying because for me it's annoying because I love it. I love Windrose. I love Diggy Hole. I love the song being out there. I want the song to be out there. You know, they were like, can we do ages ago? They were like, can we cover this song? And I was like, please do. I love it. But the problem is that what happens is that song is now more famous than our version,
Right.
and so their record company like just copyright strikes our one.
Oh, fuck off!
And all other ones as well. And it's like we have to work
Did they
so
use
hard
all the
to get it
lyrics
back.
too? Like, I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, and
they're not doing it on purpose, but like it's every time. Like I think for the last like 5 years, our own Diggy Hole has been monetized like for a week, right? Because it's always someone else has been claiming it. And it's
that whole
it's not that I
copyright
care.
claiming system is.
I want people to do it. And I don't want people to pay me for it. But I don't want people to literally take it.
Yeah,
because
so
that leads to all these other problems.
Can I just say, the Windrose version of Diggy Diggy Hole has 43 million views.
I know, and they play at these big events, and it's brilliant. I love it.
They're Italian.
I know, and it's my own fault for like, I guess, not being too nice and being like not getting a proper. Because I was just like, please, make
get your own back, man.
Okay.
Get a flight over there and do graffiti on the Coliseum. You show them.
I have no protection. But it's like,
wait, so you guys didn't get any
annoying.
money from the success of this?
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's a poor business decision on your part, sir.
Well, it's what happens. I'm not actually that mad about it.
I am,
but it's kind of it sours what is otherwise a fucking awesome.
That's
thing,
what
right?
This is all you talked about with your date, isn't it?
That's why it went so bad.
No,
I was just angry
she's
about
wanted
those
to meet
dwarf
you again.
rockers.
I think specifically you not bringing up Windrose and Diggy Diggy Hole is what has led to a second date.
True.
That's when you bring this up. And if she
Right.
passes that test, she's a keeper.
Share my irritation. I'm not really mad. I'm just like, I thought it's just one of those things that's stupid at the back of my mind that, you know how sometimes like something's really, really good, but then you have a dumb like thing in your mind that bothers you, like a dumb little irritation that kind of doesn't ruin it, but like doesn't like, it's annoying. It's like it's like there's a fly in my lovely soup.
you got a fly in your lovely soup.
Like, I don't really want to eat this now, but it's fine.
Yeah, I think I always feel like with that stuff, you can't. Maybe the monetization side of it and the copyright side of it's annoying, but at least you have that exposure, you know. Like you can always turn around and say, "Yeah, I made that song. I wrote all the lyrics."
I wonder whether this is
I
just
made the theme tune.
a symptom
I sung
of getting
the theme
older,
tune.
though.
Yeah,
and like just everything being like when you have depth and sort of experience, things just like I wonder if in the 80s when Reagan became president, and he was in the Hall of Presidents in Epcot or whatever, maybe it wasn't even built there, but God knows. I wonder if people back then felt in the same way they do now about Trump. You know, they felt like, what is this guy? He's an actor becoming president. He's ruining the platform, right? He's kind of this weird prune-looking idiot guy making these terrible political conservative choices. You know, and I wonder if people back in the day felt kind of like as frustrated. Because it's so weird seeing Trump now being there. Because it is like, I don't know, it is like something out of a nightmare apocalypse, right? Where you're like, oh, this was all so good, and now is this guy going to just ruin it forever? But maybe in 20 years' time, we would have forgotten, and he was just like Reagan was, you know, just a blip, and now we're on to the new TikTok president or whatever of the fuck, you know, president it is.
You think there?
Do you know what I'm saying?
There's
Like,
going to be?
Has it just always been like this in cycles?
Yes.
Was like was like Taft or like, I don't know, one of these other presidents in like the 1800s. Did everyone also feel the same way about that? And like,
I don't know.
oh god,
Yeah, no,
Probably.
a lot of history is just history repeating itself and is in cycles.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what we take for granted for every day, and the systems that are in place to support those things are things that were designed a long time ago, and the people that control them are really good at preserving those control structures as well. So yeah, everything does just
remember,
go around in circles. It's like
the song "Ping Pong."
No.
ping pong.
Ping Pong. Yeah.
No.
It's I'll find out who did it. Anyway, it was very famous at the time. It was in the 80s. One of the lines is that that everything is basically a cycle, and we just loop the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And in any cycle, you have three things. You have a big golden age when there's like some time when things are going well. Then you have a huge crash, and then you have a war, and you just keep doing that.
Yeah.
That's essentially
Pretty
what we
much,
just
yeah.
keep doing.
Yeah.
And it never changes. It's Stereolab is the band. It's called Ping Pong. It's a great song. And anyway, if you haven't heard of it, look it up. And it's the lyrics were kind of criticized at the time because it's basically, I think, it's some communist writer has basically said this, and they sort of paraphrased it for the song. But this is a very common theme throughout history: is that we repeat the same things over and over and over again. It's not because we don't learn, but because it's human nature.
Yeah.
And human nature will always exhibit itself on a grand scale. And the way that society is set up and everything, our culture and everything, lends itself to this cycle of boom, bust, war, boom, bust, war. And we just keep doing that. But their point was that everything gets slightly worse each time. Now, we know that things are not getting worse overall.
No, I think it's actually getting slightly better each time.
Right, but we do have, I'd say, the pressures of when things go wrong is much worse now because of things like climate change, which is really getting out of control.
Yeah, the existential threats.
Things like nuclear war,
right.
which would be the end of it. So it's not like war in the 3rd century when I'm sure it would suck.
It's like we're in a nicer and nicer casino, but the stakes are getting higher and higher.
I like that a lot. Yeah, it feels like that. So whether that's just being modern day centric and we're just thinking, oh well, things are much crazier for us now. I mean, in the past, you had the Black Death and you had the fall of the Roman Empire and all these things that were like huge life-changing things for everybody that lived under them. But humanity would go on, I think, compared with the problems we've got now, which is, wow, it really could come to a crashing end if we're not careful. So I feel like the pressure and the tension on everybody is just exhibiting itself in everything from politics to the economy to people. I mean, young people these days are suffering from way more stress than their peers did. We have more information, so we feel like everything's pressing down on us all the time. Even if things are getting slightly better, it feels like it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And it's just such a crazy situation.
It's hard to come to terms with. And I guess what I was really asking was like, am I, I think as I've grown older, I've always wondered if I'd be destined to be like, at what point do I not be, I don't know, I know as you grow older, you do become less like playful or like high energy. You become more, I don't know, we're supposed to become more grown up, right? And mature and not run around and jump on walls, right? And in the same way that you're supposed to feel certain ways about certain things or feel like, or be more responsible. And I think sometimes like I fear that that's inevitable and I can't stop it. I guess lately I've also been feeling quite cynical about some of my hobbies that I'm feeling a bit like I'm not very good or like I'm not interested in them. Or like
it's a journey. You change.
You go through these cycles,
it's a journey.
right?
Hey, I got a book recommendation for you guys. We haven't done a book recommendation in a while.
Okay.
This was actually secondhand book recommendation. Ben recommended me a book called Children of Time. It's the first in a trilogy. I read it.
Yes, I've got the audio book. I was going to listen to it this week.
It's absolutely superb. I really recommend it.
Okay.
So if you want something to read, it's good sci-fi. It's to set it up for you. It's basically like an evolutionary story. It's a story about evolution of a society,
Right?
And it's very, very, very interesting. It's good, solid sci-fi, really, really nicely written. And I don't want to spoil anything. It is a really, really good read. I've just started the second book, so I couldn't tell you about the rest.
Well,
of the trilogy,
we're both big fans of Arthur C. Clarke, who was the OG universal scale sense of wonder in his ideas, right? He was a real pioneer of sci-fi. I grew up reading his books. I know you've read like almost all of his stuff
No,
as well.
I have not read any Arthur C.
Really?
Clarke. You're thinking of Philip K. Dick, I think.
Oh, maybe. Anyway, I mean, I remember getting like as a kid, like we went to like a jumble sale and I bought like this big old box of books, and it was all just his short story collections and stuff like this. And yeah, I loved it, and that's really what got me into, I guess, science and like, you know, sci-fi generally. So I think it won the Arthur C. Clarke Award, this book. So that's why I got it as well. Yeah, I'm excited.
It did. So yeah. Anyway, give it a read if you're looking for something.
What is it called? Children of Time.
Children of Time, and then there's Children of Ruin and Children.
There's a couple
Memory.
of sequels. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, Ben said, you know, the sequels are not as good as the first book, but
Never
he
is,
enjoyed
though.
them. But yeah, as a standalone book, even if you don't read the other two, it's superb. I loved it.
All right, that's a good advice. Did I tell you I finished reading Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow?
No.
It's about it's basically Indie Game the movie meets Ready Player One.
Okay. I mean, I
so it's about
hated Ready Player One, so this is going to be a hard sell.
Yeah, imagine Ready Player One only without them being in a virtual world.
Okay. Is it
they're
shit?
just making
is it
indie
shit
games.
like Ready Player
Yeah,
One?
it really
Or
is
it good?
bad.
No, it's like Indie Game the movie. It's following these like
What's
small
Indie
group
Game the movie?
It's a movie about these slightly odd, quirky indie video game creators of about 5 years ago, like people 10 years ago maybe. Like God, how old is it? And it's got like it's like, you know, it's the characters are based on people like Davey Reedon, who made Stanley Parable and stuff. You know, the slightly odd, offbeat sort of indie game developers who were kind of at the dawn of this rise of indie games.
And what is it? Is it a factual book or is it a fictional book?
It's a fiction, but I mean it's won a lot of awards, and I checked it out because it was like the Guardian Book of the Year last year.
Oh,
and so yeah, I don't know. I checked it out and I read it.
I think I own this.
It's to do with gaming, so yeah.
I think someone bought me this.
It's strangely familiar. Yes, someone sent me a copy of it as well.
All right. I think they sent it to the Yogg's offices, actually.
Can I tell you something exciting before we finish up?
Sure.
I started playing XCOM 2 again, and I've really enjoyed it.
Well, I started playing fucking Aliens Colonial, whatever the fuck, the new one, Dark Descent.
Any good?
Thought it was absolute shit. I hated it.
Okay, good. I'll stick to
Sips,
XCOM.
do not listen to chat. They will try to steer you into playing Long War. Do not do it, my brother.
Don't play Long War.
Do not do it. It
No,
is
I'm
horrendous.
playing vanilla, no mods. I'm not even playing
Hell
War of the
yeah.
Chosen right now. I'm just
Oh,
playing.
wow.
You should do War
I've
of the
just
Chosen.
gone.
Actually.
I've just
You
gone.
should do War of the Chosen.
With
I have
no
done
mods.
I have done War of the Chosen. I liked it enough, but I just wanted to do.
There are a couple of mods.
pure
So
run.
you don't even have the mod like Shut Up Bradford and with the where you can evac everyone at once. You don't have any mods.
None.
There's like some real quality of life mods in there.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Well, good luck.
I'm back in 2015. I've gone back in time.
Don't bother playing Aliens Dark Descent. It's just not good.
Okay.
Sorry if you like it. I love Aliens. I love
You love the Dark Descent.
I love
You love
aliens. I love the
Aliens.
universe. But playing the first hour of Aliens Dark Descent was almost like taking something that I actually found exciting and scary and turning it into something that was just lame.
Oh,
Right.
Like a not scary. Like, ugh. Yeah. I and this is why I feel like I'm out of touch, right? Because this is the new game that's coming out and everyone's telling me about it, saying, oh, if you like XCOM, play this, and oh, if you like Aliens, play this. And I love both of those things, but I couldn't get
I don't
on
know
with
if you
it. Sorry.
guys. I know Flax, you haven't played much Diablo 4. Lewis, you played a little bit of Diablo 4. I've experienced kind of the same thing as you as well with reading about Diablo 4 and people's complaints about it, and then on the other side of that, people's praise for it or whatever. I don't know where I stand on either side. Like I think I agree with
I
both
don't
sides.
understand when I don't
But
understand when
there seems to
someone
be
is like,
this
oh,
huge
I've only
divide.
played 250 hours of Diablo 4 and I hate it. And it's like, well, that's what? Like, you know,
Yeah,
you can't,
I don't.
those people are so confused about it.
But there is there is genuinely a lot of like dad hate in the Diablo community, because I think people want this, you know, they're very specific about the things that they want changed about the game, which is fine. And then for every time that happens, you'll just have like some dad who gets to play for like 2 hours a week chiming in saying, I'm having a great time, I enjoy this. And then everybody gets really pissed off about that, you know, because They can't
it
they can't
is
swap
those
builds
obsessive
easily or
people
whatever.
who are the most vocal, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're always going to get this, right? Where I think what happens is there's this big pool of people, right? And as games come out, little pools of people get left in old games.
Yeah.
There's still some people playing Diablo 2. There's still some people playing Diablo 3. There's still some people playing Path of Exile. There's still lots of people playing these other games, right? And so they're all coming back for this new experience, but it's not what they like necessarily. They might like elements of those games that aren't in this, and they want their game in their head. They want it to be more like the thing that they're familiar with, the thing that they're comfortable with, the experience they liked before. And so they're in this, when you make a new game, you're always trying to it's like writing a new Star Wars thing. You know, you have to do enough fan service to the existing audience to not alienate them.
Yeah.
Make it familiar enough and appeal to new audience who are playing it for the first time. Because how long ago was Diablo 3? Like,
well, it's like 10 years ago.
It's an incredible amount of
2011,
time.
right? Like it was.
Do you know what I mean? Like the 2012, like that's 11 years ago. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's been 11 years since the last game. You can't have a direct sequel to something that ancient, right? Because everyone's changed. 11 years is so long.
Yeah.
If I played that when I was 16 and I'm now 27, like that is crazy. Changed so much. Anyway. I think that's enough Triforce for today. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, thanks so much, as usual, for listening to our podcast.
Thank you.
Our explorations.
So
Thank
much.
you so
ramblings.
much.
I think I talked too much and I had too much to drink this podcast, but I think
Are you
went
drunk?
okay.
Are you drunk for
No,
the
I'm only,
podcast?
I'm only
Oh,
joking.
okay.
That's how I felt about my day. I was just making
Oh,
a
I see.
pullback.
He was getting
I'm
all
sure it was
he's getting all lubed up. He's got his date is right after. That's why he's got to
Hell
go.
yeah.
He's going
Tell
back.
us more
Well,
next
I'm going
week.
away for 2 weeks now, so
Alright,
it might
well.
all, the passion may well fade.
So
Shit.
you're going to TwitchCon and then you're off to Greece.
Yeah, I'm on holiday.
On holiday.
Gonna go to the beach and read a book. Maybe I'm going to read Children of Ruin on
Do it.
under an umbrella.
Oh, nice. Well, enjoy.
Children of Time.
Have a great time.
I hope you
Alright.
have
We'll
fun.
Love
see
you
all
guys.
you guys next time on
Yes.
the Triforce
Yeah.
podcast.
See you then.
Adieu, mes amis.
Bye.
Bye.